There's a reason the same cars keep coming back to the shop with dead batteries. Brand new battery at 12 months, another one at 24 months, sometimes 3 batteries in 5 years. And it's not because the batteries are cheap, it's because their owners keep making the same 13 mistakes on repeat without even knowing it. By the time you notice your car won't start on a Monday morning, the damage is already weeks deep inside that battery. And the cost? A $60 to $200 replacement every single time. Here's what you need to stop doing before your battery becomes the next one to die. And the mistake that kills more batteries than almost anything else? We're saving that one for the very end. Stick around. Let's get into it. Mistake number 13. Never testing your battery properly. Your car doesn't start one morning, and the first thing you do is buy a new battery. Swap it in, move on. Except, what if the battery was fine? What if something else was draining it overnight, and you just put a fresh battery in front of the same problem? This happens to thousands of car owners. They throw $60, $80, sometimes $150 at a battery that had nothing wrong with it, all because they never tested it. Testing takes 5 minutes. Grab a basic digital multimeter, set it to DC volts, red LED on positive, black on negative, engine off, car sitting for a couple hours. A healthy battery reads 12.6 to 12.8 volts. Around 12.4 means it's partially drained. Below 12, it's either deeply discharged or dying inside. But a battery can show decent voltage and still be too weak to start your car. That's why load testing matters. A load test puts the battery under simulated cranking stress. If the voltage collapses, the battery is done internally, even if it reads 12.5 sitting there. Most auto parts stores do this for free. No reason to skip it. If the battery passes both tests, but the car still dies overnight, you have a parasitic draw. That means something in the car is staying awake and pulling power. We'll get into exactly how to track that down in just a minute. One more thing. There's an old trick floating around the internet that says you can test your alternator by disconnecting the battery while the engine is running. Don't do this. On modern cars, that voltage spike can fry your alternator diodes, your voltage regulator, or even your engine computer. There are much safer ways to test, and we'll cover those later. For now, the next mistake sounds almost too simple to matter. It's not. I see it constantly. Mistake number 12, forgetting lights left on. You're probably thinking, come on, who actually does this? A lot of people. And the problem is almost never the headlights. It's the trunk light that stays on because the latch didn't fully click. The glove box light because something is jammed inside. That dome light you forgot existed. These little bulbs burn all night and you never see them from outside. Let's do the math. 2 headlights pull about 10 amps combined. A 60 amp-hour battery dies flat in 6 to 7 hours at that rate. Leave them on at 8 in the evening, and by 3 in the morning, your battery is gone. Even 2 small dome lights pulling 1.7 amps together drain 27 amp hours in 16 hours. That's more than half a small car battery's capacity, from 2 tiny bulbs. And the battery doesn't need to be completely empty to strand you. So you see a dim glow from the headlights and think there's some juice left, but the starter just clicks. Not enough punch to turn the engine over. Prevention takes 2 seconds. Walk around the car before you go inside. Check the dome and trunk lights. A glove box switch that doesn't click is a $5 fix. The battery it kills costs $100. This next mistake is something you'd never suspect. You think you're being smart. You're actually setting a timer on your next breakdown. Mistake number 11. Wrong battery for your car. You walk into a parts store, ask for a battery, and grab whatever they hand you. Or you shop by price and grab the cheapest thing that fits. If that battery is the wrong size, wrong chemistry, or underpowered, you just bought yourself a future no-start, probably within a year. First, group size. That number tells you the exact dimensions and terminal positions your car was built for. Too big, and the battery presses against hoses or wiring under the hood. Too small, and it rattles around. That vibration cracks the case and leaks acid. If the terminals land on the wrong side, cables stretch and create resistance or shorts. Then there's cold cranking amps. CCA. This is your winter survival number. It dictates whether your car actually starts at 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Bigger engine, more CCA. Cold climate, way more CCA. You can always go above factory spec because the starter only takes what it needs. go below, and the battery won't crank on a cold morning, even if it's brand new out of the box. Now the part that trips up modern car owners. If your vehicle has start-stop, where the engine shuts off at red lights and restarts when you lift the brake, you need a specific battery chemistry. These systems cycle the battery between discharge and recharge dozens of times every drive. Regular batteries can't take that punishment. Start-stop cars need AGM or enhanced flooded batteries built for constant cycling. Put a standard battery in there and it fails fast. The start-stop quits and warning lights start popping up. That mismatch alone costs you a $150 to $300 battery replacement inside 6 months. And this catches a lot of people. Many modern cars need you to register the new battery in the car's computer. The battery management system tracks age, chemistry, and capacity to control how it charges. Swap a battery without telling the computer, and it keeps charging based on the old one's profile, overcharging or undercharging the new battery. Either one kills it faster. BMWs and most European cars absolutely require battery coating after every swap. Skip it, and you're buying another battery next year. And don't buy mystery brands with no warranty. What comes next sounds harmless. Park your car for a couple weeks? What could go wrong? A lot, actually. Mistake number 10, leaving your car parked too long. Most people think a car battery works like a phone. Charge it, use it, charge it again. Not even close. Even with the car completely off, small things keep pulling power. The clock, the alarm, the keyless entry module, a few milliamps each. Sounds like nothing. Over days and weeks, it isn't. This is where the real damage happens. As charge drops, lead sulfate forms on the battery's internal plates. Normally, the alternator breaks that sulfate back down while you're driving, but leave the battery sitting low for too long, and those sulfate crystals harden permanently. It's called sulfation, and no charger on Earth brings back the capacity it destroys. Add natural aging on top of that, metal structures corroding, material shedding as sludge, internal resistance climbing, and a battery that's supposed to last 5 years is dead in 2. The fix is a smart battery maintainer, not a trickle charger. I need to be clear about this because the wrong choice destroys batteries. A trickle charger pushes constant current and doesn't know when to stop. Leave one connected for weeks and it boils the acid right off the plates. By spring, your battery is cooked. A smart maintainer monitors voltage and adjusts in stages. It knows when to back off. Battery tender, CTEK, NOCO, these units cost $30 to $50 and you leave them connected for months without a worry. Compare that to a $150 battery replacement every 2 years. No power outlet near the car? Disconnect the negative terminal. It cuts off all parasitic draws. You lose radio presets and the clock resets. But that beats buying a new battery every time. And if you're in a freezing climate, don't let a discharged battery sit in the cold. The electrolyte inside can actually freeze solid, crack the case, and leak acid everywhere. Mistake number 9, overcharging. Most people assume more charge equals better. Wrong. When voltage goes above what the chemistry can handle, the electrolyte boils. Water breaks into hydrogen and oxygen gas. The battery heats up. The case swells. Lead plates corrode at double speed. And in extreme cases, the hydrogen buildup causes the battery to explode. Most overcharging happens when the voltage regulator inside your alternator fails and sends way too much voltage directly to the battery. Every minute the engine runs in that state is pure damage. The fix is usually a voltage regulator or alternator replacement, $50 to a couple $100 depending on the car. Ignoring it costs you the battery, possibly the alternator, and potentially electronics throughout the car. That bill climbs past $1,000 fast. We'll cover exactly how to test for it in just a second. Overcharging also comes from using the wrong external charger. A GM batteries need AGM-specific settings. Lithium needs lithium profiles. Wrong charger, wrong chemistry, dead battery. If this is saving you money, hit subscribe. I cover car tips that keep your car running and keep your wallet closed. Now, let's get into the mistakes that are even harder to find and way more expensive to ignore. Mistake number 8, bad aftermarket wiring. Ever added a radio, a dash cam, or a remote starter, and then a few weeks later your battery starts dying? You probably never connected the two events. You should have. When someone installs an aftermarket accessory, they often wire it straight to the battery or to a power source that stays live with the car off. No relay, no fuse. That dashcam, amplifier, or GPS tracker keeps pulling current 24 hours a day, even while you sleep. An amp or two doesn't sound like much. Run it 8 to 10 hours and you've drained 10 to 20 amp hours. 2 or 3 nights of that, and you're standing in your driveway on a Wednesday morning with a dead battery and no idea why. The fix costs under $20. A relay and a fuse, wired to an ignition-switched circuit so the device only gets power when the car is running. That's it. To find out what's draining your battery, you test for a parasitic draw. Set your multimeter in series between the negative battery post and the negative cable. The catch that trips up everyone is that modern cars need time to fall asleep after you reconnect things. Read the meter too early and you see numbers that look terrible but mean nothing. Wait 30 to 45 minutes. Don't touch the doors or the key fob. Normal draw is under 50 milliamps on older cars, around 80 on newer ones. If you're seeing hundreds of milliamps, something is staying awake. To find it, pull fuses one at a time while watching the meter. When the draw drops, you found your culprit. Dealer-installed alarms are notorious for this. Cars get sold with alarms spliced into wiring that bypasses factory fusing. A standard fuse pull test never finds them because the current isn't flowing through any fuse. You have to physically trace the wiring harness and look for aftermarket splices. Mistake number 7, ignoring alternator problems. Your alternator keeps the battery charged while you drive. When it works, you never think about it. When it fails, every symptom looks exactly like a bad battery. Headlights dim, windows move slowly, radio resets itself, dashboard warning light appears. In bad cases, the car stalls because voltage drops too low to run anything. You hear whining from under the hood or smell burning belt rubber. So car owners replace the battery. The new battery dies in a month because the alternator was the problem the entire time. Now you need the battery and the alternator. $300 to $800 for the alternator alone. That's money you'd never have spent if you checked the charging system first. The test takes 30 seconds. Multimeter on the battery terminals with the engine running, 13.5 to 14.5 volts means the alternator is working. Below 13 means it's not. Above 14.8 means it's overcharging and boiling your battery, which is the exact problem we covered in mistake 9. And here's something that blows people's minds. A failing alternator doesn't just stop charging your battery. If one of the diodes inside it goes bad, it can actually drain your battery backward through the alternator while the engine is off. Your alternator becomes a parasitic draw. On top of that, a weak battery forces the alternator to work harder. That extra strain generates heat and wears it out faster. Replace the alternator without checking the battery and the new one follows the same path. Always test both. Replace both if needed. This next one hides in plain sight. Your battery could be perfect. Your alternator could be perfect. And you still end up stranded because of something you can fix with a wire brush in 5 minutes. Mistake number 6, neglecting your terminals and mounting. That thin layer of white crusty buildup on your battery posts is corrosion, and it acts like an invisible wall between the battery and the car. Current goes out, but not all of it arrives. Slow cranking, flickering lights, random warning messages, behavior that screams bad battery when the battery is fine. I've seen people spend $300 chasing electrical problems that a wire brush would have solved in 5 minutes. Not an exaggeration. It gets worse with loose terminals. A loose connection makes and breaks contact as the car vibrates. Each break creates a tiny arc. That arc generates heat, accelerates corrosion, and damages electronic modules over time. And this catches mechanics off guard, not just owners. A loose terminal adds resistance between the alternator and the battery. Charging current can't push through efficiently. Battery stays undercharged. Computer sees low voltage. Mechanic says alternator is weak. You pay $300 to $800 for a replacement. The real problem? A $5 terminal clamp that needed tightening. Fixing terminals costs almost nothing. Disconnect negative first, then positive. Wire brush until you see shiny metal. Baking soda and water for heavy corrosion. Dry everything. Thin coat of dielectric grease. Tighten snugly. Done. Check the hold-down bracket while you're there. If the battery shifts when you drive, terminals loosen over time and the case can crack. 2-minute fix. Mistake number 5, jump starting the wrong way. Most people think it's simple. The way you connect those cables and the order you do it makes the difference between a safe recovery and an electrical disaster that costs more than the car is worth. The single most dangerous mistake is reversing polarity, positive to negative or negative to positive. Fuses blow instantly, electronic modules fry, the engine control unit, the brain of the entire car, can take irreversible damage. That's a $1,000 part on a good day. Reversed current kills alternator diodes. There's also a real safety risk. Lead-acid batteries produce hydrogen gas, flammable. A spark at the terminal near accumulated hydrogen can cause the battery to explode. Acid and plastic shrapnel. Not theory. It happens. The correct order. Positive clamp to the dead battery's positive terminal. Positive clamp to the donor's positive terminal. Negative clamp to the donor's negative terminal. Final negative clamp goes to bare metal on the engine block of the dead car, not to the dead battery's negative post. Any spark from that last connection happens far from hydrogen gas. That's the entire point of the sequence. Before the jump start, kill all accessories in both cars. Radio, climate, headlights, everything. Let the donor idle a few minutes. If the dead battery is cracked or visibly leaking, don't attempt it. And never jump a 12-volt car from a 24-volt truck. If your car has designated jump start terminals, usually marked in the engine bay or near the fuse box, use those instead of going directly to the battery. The manufacturer put them there for a reason. After a successful jump, drive at road speed for 20 to 30 minutes. Not idle. Drive. The alternator needs RPM to produce meaningful charging current. And if you're relying on jump starts regularly, you aren't fixing anything. You're masking the real problem while it just gets worse. We're into the top 4 now. The next one costs nothing to fix. The damage it causes costs everything. Mistake number 4, leaving devices plugged in constantly. You pull into the driveway, grab your stuff, walk inside, phone charger still plugged in, dash cam still running, GPS still in standby. These things are eating your battery alive right now. On many vehicles, 12-volt outlets and USB ports stay live even with the key out. Whatever's plugged in keeps drawing power around the clock. A few watts each, add them up over 16 hours of parking, and you lose a meaningful piece of battery capacity every single day. Do that for a week straight without a long drive, and the total drain rivals leaving your headlights on. Except you'd never know it, because nothing looks wrong from the outside. Your own habits add to it. Sitting in accessory mode for an hour, radio on, climate running, drains the battery with zero alternator support. Some people sleep in their cars with accessories on and wake up to absolutely nothing. The prevention is pure habit. Unplug everything before you walk away. Wire accessories to ignition switched outlets. Total cost of prevention, 0. Cost of the battery it saves, $60 to $200 every time. Mistake number 3, parking in direct sunlight. If you live anywhere that gets genuinely hot in summer, this one is already affecting you, right now, and you don't know it. Heat is the #1 silent killer of car batteries. Not cold, heat. Most people blame winter for their dead batteries. The truth? Summer heat does the damage. Winter is just when the bill comes due. Your battery is basically a plastic box full of chemical reactions that produce the energy to start your car. Cold slows those reactions down, which makes the battery feel weak on freezing mornings. But that effect is temporary. Warm it up, and it works fine. Heat does the opposite, and it's permanent. It speeds up every destructive reaction inside the battery. Grid corrosion chews through the metal. Electrolyte evaporates. Active material flakes off the plates and settles as conductive sludge that can short-circuit cells from the inside. For every 10 degrees Celsius hotter, the destruction rate doubles. That's why people in Arizona and Texas replace batteries every 2 to 3 years, while people in Michigan get 4 to 5 from the exact same battery. Double the lifespan just from cooler weather. Battery insulation blankets lower peak temperature by 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. If your car keeps the battery under the hood, a blanket costs $15 and adds months to battery life. If your battery has removable caps, check the fluid levels in summer and top them off with distilled water. If the fluid drops below the plates, they deteriorate fast, and no charger fixes that. We're now into the final two. These are the ones that scored highest for a reason. Almost everyone is doing them right now, without knowing. Mistake number 2, only driving short trips. If your routine is a 5-minute drive to the store, a 10-minute commute, and maybe a run to pick up the kids, your battery is slowly starving, and you won't know until the morning it won't start. Every time you turn the key, the battery dumps a massive burst of current into the starter. That drains a real chunk of stored energy in seconds. The alternator starts replacing it as soon as the engine runs, but it's not instant. A common rule from mechanics: each second of cranking takes roughly a minute of driving at road speed to recover. Think about a 3-mile commute. Big drain from cranking. 10 minutes of low-speed driving with the alternator barely producing. Shut off. Next morning, same thing. Day after day, the battery gives more than it gets back. Over weeks and months, the battery never reaches full charge. That leads straight to the same permanent sulfation damage we talked about earlier. Capacity shrinks, resistance climbs. One morning, the starter clicks, and nothing happens. The battery is 2 years old and already finished. Replacement cost, $60 to $200. The fix that would have prevented it. One longer drive per week. Free. 15 to 30 minutes at road speed, above 30 miles per hour. That's all it takes. The alternator gets enough RPM to push real current back into the battery. The engine reaches operating temperature and burns off the moisture that causes oil sludge, carbon buildup, and exhaust corrosion. Can't do a weekly long drive? Consolidate errands into fewer outings. And no, idling in the driveway doesn't count. RPM is too low. Alternator output is weak. There's no airflow to cool the battery, and the engine never gets hot enough to burn off condensation. Driving is better in every way. If short trips are your reality and nothing is going to change, replace the battery every 3 to 4 years proactively. $60 planned beats $200 unplanned on the shoulder of a highway. Mistake number 1, your key fob is keeping your car awake. This is the one that shocks everyone. You park the car, lock it, put the keys on the hook by the front door. Go to bed. Everything seems fine. Your car disagrees. It's wide awake, and your key fob is the reason. Modern cars with passive keyless entry have sensors that constantly listen for the fob's signal. When they detect it, electronic modules stay powered up and ready, waiting for you to touch the door handle. That's convenient when you're walking toward the car. It's a disaster when the fob is sitting on a table 10 feet from the garage. The car detects that signal all night. Body control module, keyless entry system, other electronics, all stuck in wake mode. Parasitic draw jumps from a normal 50 milliamps to several hundred. Over 8 to 10 hours, that's enough to cripple a battery. This is not speculation. A Ram Power Wagon owner dealt with a dead battery every week, took it to the dealer. They acknowledged the problem, but couldn't fix it. The owner bought a Faraday pouch, a small bag lined with signal-blocking material that costs about $10, stored the fob inside. Battery held charge for over 16 days. The car had been perfectly fine. It was the fob keeping it awake the entire time. $10 pouch versus weekly battery drain. The math speaks for itself. The fob itself can be the issue too. A stuck button or a leaking component draws more current from its coin cell than it should. Owners have measured milliamp level draws from fobs that looked completely normal. Faraday pouches do double duty. Beyond preventing battery drain, they block relay attacks, where thieves amplify the fob signal from inside your house and steal your car from the driveway. One $10 pouch solves both problems. Store the fob well away from the car or inside a signal blocking pouch. That one habit could end years of unexplained dead battery mornings. So there they are. 13 mistakes that silently kill your car battery, often in less than 2 years. If you're honest with yourself, you probably recognized more than a few. Every fix on this list is either free or costs less than a tank of gas. The damage they prevent runs into the hundreds and thousands. But here's the thing, your battery could be perfect, every mistake on this list fixed, and your car still won't start one morning. Because there's another part that causes most no-start problems and almost no one ever thinks to test it. I made a full video on exactly what that part is and how to check it before it strands you. That video is on screen right now. If this saved you money, drop a like. If one of these mistakes got you, tell us in the comments which one. Someone watching right now has the exact same problem, and your comment could be the thing that saves them a trip to the parts store.